everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Limited Time Only. I'm your host, Spencer, and I'm joined by my co-host, Silver Pro, Danny Cathro.
What's up?
How's it going, man?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Just enjoying the new set, exploring, having fun. It's great.
All right.
How about
All right.
yourself?
I'm good. Are you enjoying the new set?
So, standard-wise, definitely. And then I'm not super particular about. So, like, I'll enjoy whatever you give me. I enjoy trying to figure it out, even if when you're trying to figure it out, it kind of goes squampus or whatever. So.
Okay. Well,
Nah.
all right then. This podcast is brought to you by our sponsors at the Mana Base and Game Grid. You can check them out at themanabase.com and play at gamegrid.com. We really appreciate both of our sponsors, especially the Mana Base, where you can get awesome content from Nikachu, the Mason Clark Crusher, and Game Grid. They offered me Comic-Con passes. They're just always super awesome, willing to do stuff for us, and we really appreciate both of them. So let's get into our first segment, though. So every week on the show, we do what we call Biggest Movers. So it's the cards that have moved the most for us since the format start. This is about, for most people, because of how MTGO works now, this is like week 2 of the format, maybe the beginning of week 3.
I think we're starting up week 2.
Week
yeah,
2.
We're starting week 2.
Yeah, week 2. It feels longer.
It does feel like a while.
Yeah.
But pre-release was last weekend. It's only been a week. So.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, so for me, I'll kind of go first. For my biggest mover up is kind of weird. It's actually Dual Shot.
Okay.
It went from probably unplayable, maybe sometimes you'll sideboard it, to, man, I'm sideboarding in this card a lot.
Yeah, there's many matchups where Dual Shot will be actively great. And then if you have enraged dinosaurs, which I've noticed there's not as many big enraged payoffs as I was initially thinking when I was looking at the set. Because I think a lot of the biggest enraged payoffs are the uncommons or rares. And so every once in a while you'll get a super blowout with Dual Shot. But I think just like the deal 2 damage to 2-year guys comes up relatively often.
Just weirdly often.
Yeah.
So I've thought about main decking it multiple times. I'm like, maybe I should just main deck this. I'm still keeping it in the board for now, but it went up a lot in stock for me.
Mm-hmm.
What is your biggest mover up, Danny?
So my biggest mover up is bad auras. So like Gone with the Wind, is that what it is? The 2 mana, give it +2/+2 in flying. The mark
not
of
a
it.
bad one.
Yeah, but in my mind, I always considered auras bad, right? Like, I think that in general, like in a normal limited format, auras are at least high risk, right?
Yeah, but not that one.
No, that one's actively insane. But like even Mark of the Vampire and Swashbuckling, I've like gotten in there.
Sure.
Like the Going with the Wind's definitely better, but Mark of the Vampire and Swashbuckling are also like sometimes super sick. And there's like some crazy combos, like Adanto's Vanguard with Mark of the Vampire. And if they're in any color but white, they're going to have a really hard time dealing with that uncommon and just slap a common on it. So I think the format has worked out that those auras are significantly better than they are in most formats. So
I had an opponent who was playing the 2/2 Flying Menace for 2.
Yeah.
And then he just kept putting swashbucklings on them.
Sure.
Like that was his whole draft strategy.
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
I mean,
do you, man?
Most of the decks would struggle to beat that draft strategy. So
it was, that was his go-to. So for my biggest mover down, I'm kind of sad because I thought this card would be super duper sweet, and it really hasn't lived up to my expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not, maybe my expectations were too high, but Steadfast Armisar is one that for me has just not lived up. So that's 3 and a white for a 2/3 Vigilance Dinosaur, and you can pay 2, being 1 and a white and tapping it to deal damage equal to its toughness to target blocking or target creature blocking or blocked by it. I thought this card would be so much better than it is.
So I think the problem that it ran into is that, like, giant piles of 2/2s and 3/3s on the ground is something that just happens. And then when that happens, you can't really attack anyway. And so it's not like doing a job. Like that job is already being done by a lot of the other cards in the format.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense exactly, but yeah.
Well, you just get into board stalls where this ability doesn't matter as much as you were hoping.
Yeah. Or they block with 2/3/3s. Like,
right.
Crap.
Yeah.
But,
there's a lot of 3/3s. So.
Yeah.
What is your biggest mover down?
My biggest mover down was just in general try to like really going in on the tribal synergies. I think you need to open like a rare that has tribal synergies or an uncommon that pays you off or like I think just default saying like, oh, I'm black white vampires, and then at the end of the draft you can look at your deck and realize that you have like the 1/6 mana 4/4 flyer that you need to tap 3 vampires to get it back, and like you took these underpowered vampires because you wanted to stay vampires, but in reality you can draft with like a general take the best card strategy, and it'll work a lot better than trying to like stick to an archetype, unless if you open payoffs or if you have like you see a lot of the payoffs, then it's definitely worth it. And then some tribes that it's like varying degrees depending on the tribe. So like Merfolk, there's a little bit more payoff for it because there's like River Herald's Boon and the 2/1 that gets flying. But yeah, that just generally like just not like blindly following the tribal strategies.
Well, let's move on to our color of the week. So every week on the show, we want to talk about one of the colors in the format and give our impressions of it. We'll rotate through all the colors, try and we'll repeat some of them, obviously, because of how many weeks there are in a format. But we're going to start off with green and our initial impressions of green first. So what are the notable commons for you in green right now, Danny?
So the notable commons, probably the 6/6 dinosaur is like a good benchmark for the format, I think. So the 6/6 trample for 6, its name is Colossal Dreadmaw. So I think it's kind of the common strategy that tries to break the board stalls that you can get into. I think in this format, you need to be either trying to break board stalls or you need to be like having damage that is evasive or difficult to interact with. I think those are the best strategies, and I think having a big 6/6 trampler is generally works pretty well, and it's good to have that at a common slot.
Yeah, the cards that I've kind of been more impressed with, and I thought it would be one of them, is Pounce. I didn't realize so the common 4 mana arrest makes Pounce a lot better.
Yeah.
There's many times where my Pounces I could just trade and it was not card disadvantage, just because of how popular that white enchantment is. And then card that I'm a little bit disappointed with as a notable common is Blossom Dryad. I think that it
card
dies really easily.
Yeah.
In green. I've also been a little bit unimpressed with Explore compared to what I thought I would be.
Okay, yeah. I mean, in limited, you want to be getting the counter most of the time.
Yeah.
So, like in constructed, I think you'd rather draw the land, like the majority of the time. But in limited, when you draw the land, you feel like you normally are like you're paying for under not enough stats, and then it can be really punishing.
Sure. So yeah, and then I would say that Ravenous Daggertooth also has over-impressed me.
Interesting.
I've also, to be fair with the listeners, I have played 2 sealeds and 3 drafts. I have only played dinos, and I have only played it against dinos in my 15 matches. Is it 15 matches? It's 9 plus 10. Yeah. So maybe I've only done 2 drafts because that sounds more correct. Mm-hmm. So that's 10 plus 6. Yeah, 16
you just
matches.
Played against dinos over and over in your drafts?
I literally never. Well, except for I don't know if he was dinos. The Swashbuckling deck is the closest that wasn't dinos, but those guys are dinos, and he had other dinos in his deck.
Oh, that's funny.
He was just red white.
Yeah. No, there's a red white kind of aggro dino sub-theme deck for sure.
Yeah. So he was playing that, but every other deck was Naya.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the baseline deck to draft. So one common in green that I wanted to talk about that's kind of interesting, wanted to get your take on it, is Jade Guardian. So I've been very impressed with this card, just because. So if you're playing Merfolk, it like the enter the battlefield effect is relevant. A lot of times you'll be able to put a counter on a Merfolk that you already have out, and it'll get in a favorable attack where they can't block. And then the strategy that we're talking about, how like this Mark of the Vampire or the one with the wind, it like you can completely eliminate all of your opponent's interaction by just putting it onto your Jade Guardians. And there's very few 4/4 flyers that can deal with it. And then in this deck, you're also going to have River Herald's Boon. And I've lost and won with Merfolk decks quite often, where you just kind of you eliminate their possible out to your suit 'em up strategy.
I think the Jade Guardian is really important because of the synergies and River Herald's Boon, to be honest. It makes it so that your commons don't look dorky and dumb.
Yep. Yeah, I think that card is good. And I haven't gone as far to play it in not Merfolk deck, but it probably would serve pretty well too. It's just at that point it would be a 3/3 hexproof for 4.
Sure. Let's move on to uncommons really quick. And the obvious two to talk about, in my opinion, in green are Savage Stomp and Snapping Sailback.
Yeah, I think those are probably the two of the most powerful for sure.
Well, Savage Stomp is already undercosted at 3 mana, and then when you have a dinosaur out, it getting
costing 1, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Savage Stomp is definitely the best green uncommon. That card is bonkers.
Yeah. I've been overly impressed with Sailback. I think that it's harder to play around than people thought it was going to be originally. I think that you play around it by just not attacking at all?
Yeah, it depends on which color combination they're in. So if they have green and blue, then you'll lean more towards them having the 3/3 Flash Flyer. If they have green and white, you can think about Bright Reprisal. And so there's 3 different cards in the format that cost 5 and are instant. And so you can threaten both sometimes. And so sometimes the Sailback will get them. And then also the way that the limited plays out, I felt like this one's the most powerful when you just kind of draw it after you've kind of both blown your load, played all your spells, and then so then you're passing with no mana or with all your mana up isn't as suspicious.
Exactly, and that happens so often.
Yeah,
because
a lot of times
stall and you just start playing stuff.
Yeah, and so I can definitely see how it on curve it's probably pretty predictable, but yeah, the board stall out and you'll be able to play this in a late game situation pretty often. So
yeah, any notable uncommons outside of that you kind of want to talk about in green?
I think Drover the Mighty is super sweet. I think it enables you to splash effectively, and I found myself wanting to splash, especially in green based decks. I think a lot of times you want to go Naya dinosaurs, or you want to I had a deck that it wanted to splash removal, and having that on a 3/3 is really powerful.
And Drover the Mighty also, it tapping for mana, not just for dinosaur mana, is really good.
Yeah, it's an actual mana dork as opposed to what a lot of the other ones in the set are. So yeah, that card's sweet.
What are your thoughts on this format for sealed or this color for sealed specifically?
I think it's the baseline color that you play in sealed. So in sealed, from what I could tell, the best strategies was dinosaurs almost every time. And then if you open bombs in different colors, you would try to hedge your bets, play green, red, splash your blue bomb, or right. But green facilitates that better than anything. And then the number 1 sealed card, by a wide margin, was Thundering Spineback. I felt so many games were decided by playing the 7 mana 5/5 that pumps your dinosaurs and then just spending all of your mana every turn to make a dinosaur. That happened probably a fourth of the games that I saw, or something. It happened really, really frequently where that card would just run away with the game. And so
I had many games so far where I would literally just attack into it just so that I could get my my fiery cannonade, or no, what's the name of the
Yeah,
fire cannon blast?
yes, I think.
Yeah, fire cannon
Yeah.
blast. Just so I
Yeah.
could get that big enough to kill it. Like I would like 2
Huh?
for 1 myself just to get that thing off the board.
Yep. Yeah, that card's completely insane and sealed, and it's an uncommon, and so it kind of plays like one of the rares, like it'll take over the game by itself, and then it also just happens to be in the like color that has the deepest uncommons, like, and is enables splashing, and so I think it works out that green normally is the best sealed color, and in this one I think it holds true.
Well, let's move on to our training grounds. Just talk about our initial presence overall. Before we do that, where do you think green stands today?
So I've been having a hard time trying to like rank the colors. I think I've been thinking of it more in archetypes. And so I know like which archetypes I like. And I really like Merfolk. I think Merfolk is really strong in draft specifically. And then I think dinosaurs is reasonable. And so I would assume that green is one of the better colors. I was trying to think of which colors I don't like. And I think the ones that are weaker are like black and white.
Sure.
Yeah,
I think that I like green pretty well. I wanted to draft other archetypes, but like I just would get really late pounces and really late other stuff, so it just made drafting this easier. But yeah, I like this color combination. I like this color, and I like what it pairs with. I should get into this Merfolk, on this Merfolk drafting. That sounds sweet.
It's really cool. Like it plays very aggressive. It's like it is the aggro deck, which is kind of strange. You'd think it'd be one of the pirate combinations, but Merfolk is really good.
Well, let's talk about our initial impressions of the set overall, and let's start with what we feel like our current feelings for the top uncommons in the set. And I think that this could have actually been my biggest mover, which is weird because I thought it was going to be super, super good, and also it is super, super good. And that's charging is it Monster?
Monster?
Yeah, that card is better than it looks, and it looks great.
Yeah, Reality Smasher is real stupid. like that's what everyone's saying is that, oh yeah, this is just Reality Smasher. Oh, yeah, that seems busted.
Yeah, it's how it feels when you play it.
You can have two of them. I've had someone play them on back-to-back turns. And
dude,
like, stop.
real thing that happened. Like many times in my first sealed. So I had that and the rare that copies.
Oh my goodness.
And so I would play turn 2 the knight, turn 3 the human shaman, turn 4 thrash raptors. And then turn 5 that, and my opponent would just be like, "What is happening?"
You're like, okay, on turn 5, I'm attacking for 15.
18.
18. Yeah, 18.
Yeah.
Sure. Seems reasonable.
Yeah. So I think that like charging Monster
it's
so
dumb.
Weird.
It's dumb.
Yeah.
So I think the reason why it's especially dumb is like you can't take 5 very easily. So normally the way that these cards work out, where they're like a big haster, is that you will have not prepared for it the turn before, but you can like set up your defenses the next turn and you can be okay. But in this format, you're racing a lot, and there's a lot of like combat tricks are really good. There's not very much instant speed removal. Like I don't think there's anything that kills a charging monster store at common or uncommon, right?
Well, the white one probably does.
Instant speed?
Think so.
Which white one? Oh, the Bright Reprisal. Yeah. Okay, yeah. But there's very little instant speed removal. And so combat tricks have gone way up for me. And if you just put a Sure Strike on your charging monster store.
Dude, Sure Strike is so good.
Sure Strike is unbelievable. How many games have you been playing and you're like, well, can't beat Sure Strike. Well, can't beat Sure, like over and over and over again. It's insane how often. That should have been my biggest mover up. That card is insane.
Sure Strike is like legitimately great in this format.
It's
like,
unbelievable.
And I don't know if how to change that. Because what do you typically when like a card like a combat trick it moves up this much in a format, you're like, okay, well I just like play around it. But like how do you play around it? I can't give my guy first strike. I don't have instant speed removal.
Yeah.
Like this thing's I'm getting attacked by a 6/6.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. So, and Sure Strike is so good in every deck. It either goes in the low curve aggro decks where you're like, okay, I have to block because you've hit me for 10 already. And then, or it goes in you put it on a 5/5 or a 6/6. And you're like, okay, I guess I'll double block. Oh, yeah, that happens. Like,
Another card uncommon that I've been really impressed with is Otep Huntmaster.
which one?
He's the 1/2 that makes your dinosaurs cost 1 less, and you can tap to give them haste.
Oh, yeah, that card's sweet. Yeah, it's like giving them haste is probably like what makes him really good.
Yeah.
And he doesn't die to dual shot, so.
Yeah. I've also been impressed with both Skytear and Raging Sawtooth. Raging Sawtooth, I has like 2-for-1 my opponents multiple times. He's the 5/5 that comes down and deals 1 to every other creature.
Uh-huh. That card's really, really good. The one thing I have noticed though is like there really aren't a lot of enrage. And so he's most like him dealing damage to their creatures is really good. Or you can get people where you attack your 3/3 into their 1/4 and they block, and then you post combat do this and you kill their 1/4. Because like 1/4s are really anything with 4 toughness is really powerful in this format. Like most things have 2 or 3 power or are gigantic, and so 4 lines up well because you normally pay less for it.
I got to watch a lot of Deadeye Plunders on stream yesterday, and I was relatively impressed with that watching it. Is that a card you gotten to play with at all?
Yeah, so I played with it last night, and it was sweet. So it's the 5 mana, so 3 blue black. It's a pirate. It's a 3/3, and it has +1/+1 for each artifact you control, and you can pay 2 blue black to make an artifact. So if you're in the pirates deck, it's really nice being able to transition some of your like dorky dudes into a big threat, and you can utilize the big threat really well. So like I had a turn where I played my Deadeye Plunderers, and then he untapped and he used his mana dork to play the 6/6, and then I just contract killing his 6/6 and attacked him for like 8 or something because I had another treasure and another 2/2 or something, and then he was so far behind, and my Plunderers was now a 6/6, and so his next 6/6 would be chump blocking even if he wanted to block it, and so it can get really big really quick. And it often is like a threat of activation thing. Like they have to choose to either chump block it or like be terrified of Sure Strike or be like it just kind of plays really nicely in the format.
Sure. What about I mean we're in uncommons and we haven't even talked about Imperial Aerosaur yet.
Yeah, I think that is my personal vote for the best uncommon. I think like the removal spells. Well, no, maybe Charging Monster Sword is just too dumb. But like it's really good. So the ground stalls make it so that flying is especially relevant in this format. Like really, really good.
Yeah.
Because it's relatively easy to play a deck that can clog up the ground. And then it's a 4 mana 3/3 flyer, which is great, right? That's really like that's awesome in this format. It's a dinosaur, so in white you turn on your Pterodon Knights. Is that what it's called? Because Pterodon Knight is really good in white if you can activate it.
Yeah.
And so having the Aerosaur and the Knight together, can have like this like high amount of 4 mana 3 power flyers. And then the pump is great because you can surprise kill people. And so just like every aspect of the Aerosaur works really well in the format, and it's costed wonderfully. So
let's talk about the top commons really quick because I want to talk about another one that's a huge mover for me, and that's Territorial Hammerskull.
The tap, the 3,
yeah.
That card's stupid. It's one of the best. I think it might be the best white common. It might be better than Pious.
I think it might be the best common.
Wow. It could be true. That card is disgusting. It's so good.
I thought that it was gonna be fine. I've had games where my opponent has had 2 out, and I was like, I can't win this game.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way.
And then it's another perfect example of, okay, they tap your 3/3 and you have 2/2/2s left to block, and you're like, all right, perfect. my chance
Sure
to double.
strike.
Yeah, I'm gonna get this territorial hammer skull off of the battlefield. I've done it, and then you're like, sure strike, dead. It's like it happens so much. I
I
can't
actually
can't
I
believe
actually think that it might be one of the biggest reasons why I don't like tutus very much in this format,
it. Hmm.
because like it's a common. It's just
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Like I saw on stream white black decks playing it, white red decks playing it.
Hmm.
I've obviously played with and against it in dinosaurs. Like
Yeah.
the card
the
is
card's
everywhere.
it's great. It's great.
So
White blue is like the only color combination that, and even then you'll still play it, but just white blue isn't a super common color combination to play.
sure. What is your opinion of Fire Cannon Blast? Where is that card ranked for you right now?
So the main thing that's limiting how high I would rate it is that it costs double red.
Yes,
And so
I agree. It's been rough.
Yeah, like a lot of my decks will have a splash or will be 3 colors. And maybe that's just me being like trying to explore the format a little bit too much. But especially in Grixis, like you want to play Grixis Pirates a lot, because if you are in blue black and you see like this Fire Cannon Blast, you would like to take it, but double red is definitely a big hindrance. But it might actually work out so that it's better in like it's a reward, right? So if you're in white red or aggro, or if you're in red black and you like stick to your guns and you stick in red as one of your main colors, you could be rewarded by getting Fire Cannon's Blast later than you would because of the double colored cost.
Sure.
Because the card's great. It's really, really good in the format. Raid is like something that you're building your deck around anyway, especially
You're
in
just
red.
doing that, yeah.
Yeah. So you're planning on triggering raid. You're playing random flyers. You're playing unblockable guys. You're playing things that make treasures to threaten acceleration. Like you do all these things to trigger raid anyway, and so it's mostly kill anything. But again, sorcery speed, just like almost everything in the format. But
yeah. How late should you be getting pounce?
So I think we might be in different rating of pounce. So like I think pounce is good, but like it has weaknesses. So
absolutely.
Like, and I think the weaknesses detract from it a little bit. So I understand the pious being the pious. I need to figure out what the second word of that is. The pious interdiction. Yeah, there it is. That card does make pounce a lot better. I've actually had that come up also. But my green decks generally involve a lot of the 2-mana 0-3 Explore or the 3-mana 2-2 Explore. And so a lot of times I won't have anything to pounce with until like turn 5 or 6. And so it's kind of like the double spell. Like it's the first turn that you double spell is going to play like a 4-drop and pounce something. And so it's good. You definitely want it, but it's not like the removal. I don't know. You have to like build your deck and plan around it. And so it has like a setup cost that's bigger than other removal spells. But it is instant speed, and so you do kind of like it is giving you something that you don't get in other with other cards. And so like I think it's good. It's just you have to I think it's an interesting card, and it's probably good for the format because it's like really interesting to play with and trying to use it correctly.
Have you been blown out by a Slash of Talons yet?
No.
No?
No. I mean, I've had my opponent play it before, but it was always quite bad. But I mean, I could see it being good. Like I can think of scenarios where I would have been blown out by it, but yeah, I don't think people are playing it too often though.
Yeah, a lot of people are telling me they're getting blown out by it, and I'm like, how do you get blown out by it? Like you have to be attacking your blocking.
I know. That's how you counter Sure Strike. We did it. They're trying to Sure Strike their 2-2. Obviously, you have to Sure Strike your 2-3s, guys. Come on. New meta. Sure Strike your 2-3s.
All right. What are your top color pairs right now, and why?
So I like Merfolk. I think the first few days online, you could actually draft it pretty well, and it was pretty open. Now I think it's less open in the more recent drafts I've done, just because, like, it's pretty known that it's good. Like, it's the go-to aggro deck. You get to it's the free win deck. Like, Jade Guardian +1 with the wind is great. Like, that wins many games. It is wonderful. And so I've liked that a lot. I've played a lot of removal heavy deck. Removal has gone way up in my ranking just because as people go to these like aura, like you'll have a lot of opponents that try to one with the wind you. And so if you can have a deck filled with removal, it can be really powerful. And so I've been drafting some like weird 3 to all the color decks with lots of treasures to fix my mana. And it's been pretty sweet. Like we did great last night with one where it was like we were Sultai, Splash, red, and white. And we had 10 hard removal spells, like triple contract killing, triple pious interdiction, like infinite removal, and then we just played a lot of ways to fix our mana. And it was great. It was really sweet.
Right. My top color pairs are red, white, and green, red. Also, special shout out to Repeating Barrage for the most fun game of Limited Magic I've played in a very long time, where both myself and my opponent had Repeating Barrages. That was so fun.
That's really interesting.
Did
you both have 8 mana? I feel like you both had 8 mana. Okay. Yeah.
We both. It was a great game of Magic.
Red white might actually be my like sleeper pick. Like I think red white is actually really good too.
Yeah,
that one is great.
And then I've only seen screenshots, but blue green looks really fun. You've kind of already mentioned that a little bit, but those would be my top color pairs right now. Kind of leaving black on the sidelines for now.
Yeah, I have played vampires, and most of the strength of the deck is you have like you try to grind them out. So I think Legion Conquistador is a very important part of the deck, just because you can like it just kind of it bridges the mid game. So it makes it so that you'll never lose a game where you don't have anything to do. As long as you draw 3 lands, you're very likely to draw one of your 3 to 4 Legion Conquistadors, and you'll participate early game.
You just reminded me that I need to give people stop playing Imperial Lancer. Please stop doing it.
The 1/1 double strike?
Yeah. It's not a good Magic card. Please stop.
It's not until they put one with the wind on it. Have you ever had that attack you on turn 2?
No.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, that was not fun. And then they played a dinosaur, and then I was dead very quickly.
That'll happen.
I know, but yeah, that card sucks though.
Yeah. I don't care how many. No, it was the red 2-drop. It was no. The red 2-drop enchantment.
Oh, swashbuckling?
Yeah.
There you go.
Doesn't matter how many swashbucklings you have. Stop playing Imperial.
That's pretty funny.
So we kind of already discussed our initial sealed impressions, but I'm at the same place. Like it's you're more likely to be able to play Naya because of the color fixing. So because of that, like your deck's going to be more powerful because you're going to have synergies and your opponents aren't going to have synergies, which naturally makes your deck better. Yeah. Or not even your opponent, just like the other color combination.
Because more than likely your opponents are also going to be playing Naya.
Yeah, which is fun Magic. Like I've enjoyed those matches. But I do think that you're more likely to play Naya than any other color combination.
Yeah. By a lot, I think. It's not super. Splashing is weird in this format. I'm wondering what your opinion on splashing or playing more than 2 colors is.
I think that I've seen, from what I've seen on stream this weekend, it's typically either a green deck splashing or it's a blue-black deck splashing. So it kind of just depends.
Yeah, I've felt like the treasure decks with light splashes actually splash better than the green decks. So in green, your fixing is New Horizons and
the common.
Drover of the Mighty.
Yeah.
But that's an uncommon, right? And so you have one common and one uncommon, which isn't a lot. Like, it's not saying that you can't do it. Like, you can get 2 New Horizons and be okay. And then New Horizons is actually pretty powerful. I like that card. Oh, I guess Commune with Dinosaurs also does help. I've had decks where that
Commune with Dinosaurs has helped me a lot, yeah.
Yeah. But I found like the treasures to be way more consistent in enabling a splash for a single pip. Like trying to splash a Fire Cannon Barrage isn't going to work. But if you're trying to splash like Sunbird's Invocation, you can very easily do that. Or yeah, like there's lots of different like factors that go into splashing, but I have found myself wanting to splash relatively often too. So
well, that is going to be it for our initial impressions. Please leave a comment. Let us know what you think. Give us your initial impressions. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. If you're listening, please leave us a review on iTunes. We really appreciate that stuff. Don't forget to check out our sponsors at Game Grid and the Mana Base. You can check out the Mana Base's sponsor at Fusion Gaming. Let them know that we sent you. You can pick up your box of Ixalan to do your drafts there. You can also go to playatgamegrid.com, check out Game Grid's store near you. Go in there, let them know that we sent you. Play some Magic. It's a great place to play, and we really appreciate both those sponsors. You can also go to patreon.com/ccmdg to become a patron of this content and all of our other content. Starting at $1 more per month, anything that you see fit is really appreciated, and it means the world to us. Danny, if they don't, know where to find you, where can they find you?
So I'm probably most active on Twitter at DJ Cathro. People message me on there relatively often, and then also at the Constructed Criticism Family Facebook page. That one's great. I love going there. I mostly just troll Spencer when he posts things every once in a while, but it's really fun. That's a really good place to get honest feedback and really constructive information from different people. So.
You can find me on Twitter at Spencer13H. You can find me on Facebook at Spencer Stephen Howland in the Constructive Critics group if you're a patron of $5 or more, in the Constructive Criticism family group for everybody else. And yeah, you can find the podcast here on YouTube every week on mtgcast.com, constructivecriticism.com, and soon the new Game Grid website as soon as I get that up and going. So that'll be sweet. Let's move on to our hashtag What's the Pick. Hashtag What's the Pick is our Twitter outreach program. If you tweet it, we'll read it. And I saw the most terrible pack, so I thought I'd tweet it out with hashtag What's the Pick, hashtag MTGXLN. Danny, are you looking at this pack?
Let me find it. Oh, the one with Chupacabra. Okay. Yeah. I actually have a new first pick, so I didn't know initially, but I think Sunbird's Invocation is actually legit.
Okay.
So
show your work.
All right. Last night, that removal spell heavy deck I was talking about, I had Sunbird's Invocation. I splashed it as my only red spell, but it was like pretty sweet. I mean, it's card advantage. Like if your deck is lacking card advantage, it does it by itself. And so if you have a deck that can can afford to play a 6-mana do nothing spell, it's obviously it's asking a lot, but if you can do that, then you can really go off with it. Contract killing with this card is unbelievable. It was so good. And I don't know. I just am having some post
some recency bias.
Yeah, recency bias, and also how sweet the card is when it goes off. But I think I've seen other people play it, and it's I guess I don't know when I would take it. Maybe you don't take it right now, but
let's read the pack really quick. So we have
cool,
Fathom Fleet Cutthroat, not taking that. Gilded Sentinel, not taking that.
Have you ever seen someone cast a Gilded Sentinel?
No, there's no way anybody's ever going to cast that.
It's really why is it in the set? I don't know. It's weird.
Fire Shrine Keeper, March of the Drowned, Dual Shot, Jade Guardian.
Maybe that's my pick.
Jade Guardian's going to the front of the pack so far.
Yeah, like
Sunrise Seeker, Raging Goblin might move that up a little bit.
Rummaging
Uh,
Goblin.
Rummaging Goblin, sorry. Raging Goblin's the one he
Yeah,
you
well,
don't
what
want
is? Yeah, yeah.
Colossal Dreadmaw, moving that up a little bit. Shorekeeper, Raider's Wake, Bright Reprisal, Lurking Chupacabra, and Sunbird's Invocation.
Okay, so notable cards like Bright Reprisal and Lurking Chupacabra are weird. I actually haven't liked Bright Reprisal very much.
Yeah.
It's okay, but it's kind of like the snapping jaw that you what's that called? The snap jaw, the 5-man. Where is that? Sailback, snapping sailback. So it's kind of like that in that it's better if you draw it off the top late game. That's when Bright Reprisal will be unbelievable. But if you just pass on turn 5, maybe you'll get people, but I think a good player will be able to like maneuver the game to a way that it won't get them too bad.
Are you going hard in the paint, or are you taking Jade Guardian?
It's probably the highest upside pick, right? Like, I think Jade Guardian... So, I'm mostly just afraid to like, fully commit on how good I think it is. Like, I think Jade Guardian is, like, really good.
Sure.
But my, like... I don't know. There's some part of me that's like, no, it can't be that good. You can't just keep one with the Winding Jade Guardians. But then I'm like, no, really, though. I can do it. And so I would probably take Jade Guardian. It's pretty sweet. The card is good.
I think I would take Colossal Dreadmaw. Just like, I think it's the safe pick in this pack. But this pack is Garbo. It's real bad.
Yeah, it has a lot of weirdly situational cards. Also, Lurking Chupacabra, I have never seen it work.
I've also never seen it work, but I have never seen it in play. So
yeah, it's green-black. So I think the way that you get into a Lurking Chupacabra deck is you first pick like the 2-mana uncommon that explores. You like the green or the black one, and then you take another green or black explorer creature, and then it's like 4th or 5th pick, and you're like, oh, I happen to have 3 green cards and a black card that all explore. Okay, I'll take Lurking Chupacabra, and we'll kind of try to go off. Because there's 2 uncommons that pay off. It's this one, and then also the 2-drop in green. And both of them are really powerful. Like, if they work, they're great. But
well, if you want us to talk about your pack on the show, just tweet it with #what's the pick. We'll talk about it at the end of the week, end of the show every week. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and we'll see you guys all next week.
Have a good one.